Hi guys, hope you guys are doing great. You guys are doing fine. It's yet another day with a lot on the plate, but then today I want us to look at a few lives of some people who I can say that they underwent lot of trauma, lot of stress due to barrenness. So today I just want us to look at a few things that these women faced, and I'll look at exactly some women from the Bible and see how they faced their difficulties, because we know that there are so many people who are maybe in one way or the other they cannot bear children, but how traumatic it is to that person's life. Sometimes the life of that person becomes a living hell. But then let's look at some of the women who underwent that and how did they manage. I'll look at it in a biblical view, and then let's see how these people managed, or how they went through that. We have so many women from the Bible. We have a woman called Sarah. We have a woman called Hannah. We have a woman called Elizabeth. We have a woman called Rebecca, and so many other women from the Bible who had such difficulties. But then how did they handle that life? First of all, we know that it was life full of pain. You know that they didn't feel good. They somehow felt out of place. Somehow felt, when you see you don't have children, and the rest of your women around are having children, just like today's life. It's not something good. It's not something that is enjoyable. It's not something that is welcoming to so many women. You find that it's so life of pain. They live life of hatred. They live life of trauma. So you find that even in nowadays lives, you find that people who are not blessed, or people, I cannot say that they're not blessed, but things happen in one way or the other. You can be looking for children and you don't get one. It's not that you're not blessed, it's not that you're not lucky, but nature has just taken its own place. But how are you going to handle? How are you going to live by that? If you look at this woman, for example, Sarah, we can say that Sarah, first of all, she was in the pain of waiting. She waited for so many years. As we read in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, from verse 11, you can see how she persevered. She was barren for so many years, though God had promised Abraham that he's going to give him a son. But then, God's promising, they don't tell you the date they are coming. They don't tell you when. So she tried. Sometimes when she tried to help God, you can say that, as she told Abraham, okay, you can sleep with Hagar, then you can have a child so that you can have somebody to inherit after us. But that was not God's plan. Just like today's life, sometimes God can plan for you something, but we tend to help God. We tend to no, God, this is not working. Let's try this. This is not working. But it's very good to let God's will be done. Just as if Sarah had waited, it couldn't have happened as what has happened to Hagar and things like that. But then that interaction with God, it's God's reformation, His promising and things like that. You can see that Sarah at the end, she was promised, though she laughed. If you read in that book of Genesis chapter 18 verses 12, you can see that when Sarah heard that she's going to have a baby next year, the time like this, she'll have a baby, she laughed. Why? Why did she laugh? Because sometimes we imagine things are very impossible. She was over 80 years, remember. Over 80 years. even if it were me, maybe I could have laughed, maybe I could have said something stupid, because I was just imagining with human understanding. You know, God's understanding is far beyond human's understanding. So our understanding, I can just imagine a lady of 80 years and you're telling her that you're going to have a baby, even if it were you. I could have done the same. I could have laughed maybe. I could have mocked maybe. I could have done something silly. Because you can't just imagine, I'm so old. How am I going to have a baby? But God's planning is always the best. So, even today's life, let's wait for God's plan to take place. Let's look at another woman called Rebecca. We can read from in the book of Genesis still, chapter 25. You'll see the whole story of Rebecca. She was also in pain, waiting for 20 years. If you read in that book just slightly, you'll not notice, because as life went on, but Rebecca was barren for about 20 years when she got married to Isaac. So you can read in the book of, as I've said, the book of Genesis from 25, chapter 25, from verses 21 and 22 there. You can see she also waited for some time to get a baby. But then Isaac interacted with God, prayed to God on behalf, and God answered. If you read in that book of in Genesis 25:21, you can see that God answered. Though while she was pregnant, she experienced struggling. Remember, there were two people struggling in Rebecca's stomach, if you read that story. But anyway, I don't want to take you to those stories. For me, what I want to take you to is God's words are always final. It doesn't matter how long you're going to wait. It doesn't matter how much you're going to be in pain waiting, but at the end, God's promises are going to be there. Let's look at Hannah. If you read in 1 Samuel chapter 1, you can see Hannah was in deep sorrow. She was in deep pain, crying, going to the altar. You know, you are crying to the extent that you just murmur words. You're just like murmuring until the servant of the church at that time was like, what's wrong with this lady? Are you drunk or something? You know, because sometimes our pains can take us to levels whereby you talk things that you didn't even want to talk. This lady was so much in pain, so I could understand her pain. She was so much in pain. She kept praying, because the Bible said that she went there yearly. So we don't know how many years she went there. But did she give up? She didn't give up. And that's why I'm telling you today, who is looking at this video, you are struggling in one way or the other. Just trust me. If you're praying to the Almighty God, if you're praying to God, God is going to answer you in due time. When God's time is ready, He's going to answer you. But let's look at another woman, Elizabeth. Look at in the book of Luke, chapter 1. You're going to see that Elizabeth and Zachariah were righteous before God, but then they stayed long without. They were old. They didn't have children. But what did God talk to Zachariah? What did He tell him? That you're going to, the angel Gabriel appeared to him and said, you're going to have your prayers has been heard. You're going to have a baby. So if you read in that book, in the book of Luke chapter 1, you'll all read all that story of Zachariah. And we see all these people who waited, they gave birth to mighty warriors. You can see Jonah the Baptist was born. You can see Elizabeth, Hannah, Samuel was born. You can see Sarah, Isaac was born. So you can see that all this waiting and prayers, they came and resulted to mighty warriors to be born. So that lady who is waiting, you know, in my channel here, I talk about women, I talk about breastfeeding, I talk about children, upbringing. But then what about a life of a barren woman? Should I discourage you? Should I tell you that you're not going to make it because I'm talking about children and all that? No. I'm encouraging you today. I'm talking to you today also, that no matter the time you have waited, no matter the pain you went through, just read in the book, in the Bible, and get refreshed. That even these women, they prayed and at the end they got answered. What about you? As long as you believe, then God is also going to answer you one day. And you'll look at this video and then you'll just laugh and say that, yeah, glory to the Almighty God, because God has answered me. So life of a barren woman, it can be so stressful, it can be so painful, because you have that eagerness, you have that wanting. You are like, why am I infertile, why am I barren, why you have a lot of whys inside of you. You asking God, why me? It is you, because God trusts you. It is you at this time, because God knows that when you keep waiting for him, you're going to be answered. So today is just a word of encouragement to my friend out there. God is with you. God is going to give you what you want. Just stick to God and let God do his will. God will do his will, and you'll succeed and get what you want. This is the word today I'm having with you. I know life of a barren woman, it's not an easy life. It's a life of struggles, life of pain, life of negativity. Sometimes we are around people who give us negativity. We are around people who talk about us, who despise us and things like that. But my dear, just stick to your prayers. God is going to answer you, and in the end you're going to receive what you need. Thank you so much. Hope this video has helped you and has encouraged somebody, and it has uplifted somebody. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye.